Hey, good morning, everyone. Good evening, good afternoon, whatever your
Good
time
morning.
is, wherever you are joining us from. As you know, this program, people join from all over the world. It's nice to see your wonderful faces again one more time. Last year was wonderful, and this is the first time we are meeting this year. Happy New Year! Happy New Year to the team. Happy New Year to everyone
Happy
that
New Year.
joined us today. Wishing you a very, very prosperous year. So today, our program is, we have brought it closer to the people, to everybody to be able to participate. I will be walking along with you today, every step of the way, moderating this program. And with me is the wonderful team that has been together for close to 2 years now. Thank God we are increasing. We have not lost anybody. Praise God. Please, as we are starting, as usual, remember your phone. Please put your phone on silent. You can do that now in the next 1-2 seconds. I'm also doing mine. Remember to put your phone on silent. Remember, if you have comments, because we are making this very interactive, if you have comments, use the emoji to raise up your hand, because unfortunately we cannot see everybody's hand. So use the emoji to raise up your hand. Do not interrupt. Be civil in your interactions. This is a platform where we come up with solutions to issues on non-oil export. Today is Naira volatility, strategies for businesses to stay afloat. Who is our main speaker today? Our main speaker today is none other than our convener, the convener of this program. Is going to be our main speaker for the day. And who is this person? He is no other person than Femi Boyede. For those that may be wondering who is Femi Boyede, or if you don't know him very well, here is Femi Boyede for you. You can see his picture from your end, I believe. Can you see him?
Yes, we can see you.
Okay.
Yes, I can see him.
Okay, Femi Boyede is the convener of this program, and equally is a CITP International Trade Consultant. Is an enterprise development strategist. His experience spanned private sector management, policy formulation, advocacy, and organizational improvement. He has extensive experience in the international trade domain, passionate in export business development and trade promotion, proactive in public-private discussions on business environment, enterprise development, and trade reforms, travel to numerous regions around the globe to support the exchange of products and services, and is the chairman of Koinona Global Services Inc. Canada, as well as chief executive officer and lead consultant of Koinona Ventures Limited Nigeria. He's made positive impact in Nigerian non-oil export conferences, exhibitions, and awards, served in the Federal Ministry of Industry, Trade and Investment, FMITI, and GTA Trade Enthusiast in Canada. GTA means Greater Toronto Area. Boyede is diplomatic and speaks many languages, including English, French, Hausa, Lingala, Nupe, and Yoruba. He has hands-on experience in managing export development programs and accomplished in expanding business sector in business service markets. and Nigerian Canadian is a Nigerian Canadian as well as a member of the Nigeria and Canada Business Network. And he equally promotes trade relations between Canada, the United States, and Africa with a focus on Nigeria. Please let us welcome Femi Boyede to welcome everybody officially and to also start his presentation. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you very much, Lady K. I think it's opposite also to say Happy New Year, since this is our first time of meeting together this year. On behalf of the world's best team, I join in welcoming you to today's webinar. Obviously, responding to what they will say the state of the nation. And I believe that we will have a wonderful time. And it's just opposite also to say a very big thank you to everybody for staying with us these past 2 years, and the fact that we're still going means that you all mean well to contribute um, to changing the narrative and giving the business sector more impetus to not only trade globally, but to trade profitably and in a more easy environment. I see one of my age-long co-warriors, Dr. Johnny Semede, and I say a very big welcome. I'm happy that we have a few new joiners today. Some of them I know the story, and I believe that not only will they benefit from this event today, but we also generally will uh, we will learn a lot from their experiences. I'm not preempting the selection of those who will share experiences, but in case they don't uh, win the lotto, I will leave some of my own minutes and call upon such people. In any case, let's get back to business, and I wish you a very fruitful, productive 1 hour or 1.5 hours together today. Once again, welcome.
Thank you, Mr. Boyede. Now we're going to the main part of why we are here today, which is a presentation by Femi Boyede. However, everyone as are joining, please go on the chat, introduce yourself, share all the information. You are free to share your email, your phone numbers, your company, your name. We are not here just because we want to play, but because we equally want to network. So if you feel comfortable, please put your information in the chat forum. Thank you. Mr. Boyede, you can continue. You are muted.
Thank you very much, Lady K. And I really would have wanted to share a video clip that I saw about an hour ago. I tried to bring it into our box. I've not succeeded, but I'm very sure that several people here would have seen it. I will, however, try to summarize what it is all about. As of this moment, globally, it is a trying time for businesses. It's been trying, and there's a lot of um, anxiety out there that the world is likely to be facing another economic recession. And so many countries are already preparing and strategizing to face the impending recession headlong. Nigeria is not left out. So whatever is happening out there, Nigeria is feeling the impact, and I believe that today we will be broaching one specific aspect of the economic life of Nigeria that seems to have gotten to everybody, and I mean every citizen of this country. I do remember an age-old adage that says, when the going gets tough, the tough get going. And I believe that everybody here today is one of the tough. And by the time you leave here, you will then uh, get going. And I believe that that's what we will do. So what that it's actually a TikTok video clip. A man goes to the market. He has his 100 naira in his hand. So he goes to a guy selling gari and says, "Please, I want 1 cup of gari." The guy looks at his hand and sees 100 naira. He says, "No, um, my gari is 150 naira per cup." So the guy goes to the immediate next store, asks that guy, "Oga, abeg, how much be your gari?" That one says it's 200 naira. And he said, 200 naira. Okay. So he goes back to the previous seller and wants to pay him uh, the 150 naira. In the space of the 30 seconds, the man says, no, my gari now 250 naira. He said, what's wrong with you guys? He goes back to the other one. I said, the thing don't become 300 naira. So all in the space of 2 minutes, the guy had no choice than to put his hand back into his pocket and buy at 300 naira, because he doesn't know if he goes back to the other man, it will probably have jumped to 400 naira. That's a description of how volatile the Nigerian currency has been. And because Nigeria is not an island and trades globally, we thought at Talking Trade team that it is just timely for us to take a more than a cursory look at the volatility of the Naira. I'm going to be speaking to a few slides just to put the discussion in perspective, but to also, before I do that, invite your active participation so that whatever we do today will produce a very robust position that we will, as usual, share with the relevant authorities in the hope that they will be put to the kind of use they've always put our recommendations to. So please give me a moment. Let me share my screen. Okay, so we are talking about the volatility of the Naira, strategies for businesses to stay afloat. The idea is, while we want to talk international trade, we do know that trade also includes the domestic environment. So this presentation will not be limited to international trade alone, but we'll also try to see what happens locally. So here we can see that it's been a kind of a battle, really, that we continue to see with economic challenges, with local businesses closing down. Multinational and international companies are relocating. This slide here gives a bird's eye view about the rising inflation rate that has now come to its highest in over 27 years. As of January 2024, the country's inflation rate rose very, very close to 30%. And with this inflation rate and the volatility we are talking about, this is already beginning to manifest. The Nigerian populace is now experiencing the lowest purchasing power. The economy is almost becoming irrelevant internationally. Of course, every day now you wake up to see that the nation, the economic space has a much higher demand than supply of the United States dollars, which of course is the currency of international trade here in Nigeria, with a huge backlog of forex to for the country's administrators to meet. You will see here how the US dollar to Nigerian Naira chart has gone for, I mean, for as high as almost, I think in the next slide, you will also see that it's gone to almost 2 times what it was less than a year ago. February 20, let's start from May 2023. Naira exchanged for 464 at the official market, 765 in the black market. July 2023, 2 months later, Naira went to 760 and very closely that's on the official market, and 780 at the black market. September, 2 months later, it was 779 at the official window and 1,000 Naira to a dollar. January 2024, then the skyrocketing began. 1,193 at the official exchange rate, 1,435. And February, just a few days ago, 1,709 officially. Let's note that in May 2023, it was just 464. So officially, the Naira had devalued or moved so high, almost 4 times what it was less than a year earlier. And in the black market, it was 1,851. Some actually reported the Naira going for as low as, as high as 2,100 at a point in the black market. The official window was not spared at all, because within this period, there were days when the black market rate was even cheaper than the official exchange rate. And some put this to what we call technically the floating Naira, so that it's allowed to float. The impact of that, of course, directly is unpredictability, and businesses don't thrive in an unpredictable business environment. Of course, part of the effects, the December's consumer price index showed that food inflation rose to 33.93%. This is from the NBS. Food costs grew by 40% between December 2023 and February 2024. Intracity fares per drop in Nigeria surged by 48.03 year on year to 963 in January. And on an annual comparison, the fares witnessed a significant increase of 48.03%. Air transportation probably was the worst. As of May-June 2023, you could fly from Abuja to Lagos 1 hour. Most distances in Nigeria, air distances, are covered in 1 hour. By May last year, you could fly for Abuja, Lagos, or Abuja, Lagos, Kano, for as low as, depending on how early you bought your flight, your ticket, you could get it for 40,000 naira thereabouts, some even lower. I think there was 27,000. And today, you'll be lucky to do the 1 hour flight at 120,000 naira. It rose to as high as 250 naira a few weeks back for a one-way ticket. And of course, because we are in an international environment, that also impacted international travel from Nigeria. And very, very quickly, Nigeria became the country where it was most expensive to buy an international ticket. Again, if we decide to go deeper, you will see that other countries were actually feeding from this volatility in Nigeria to the extent that people will travel by road. People going to New York will travel by road to Cotonou or to Accra to go and buy their ticket and fly. And when they are coming back, they go to Accra or Cotonou and truck back by road to Nigeria. So part of the effects, gas and petrochemicals. A lot of homes actually started going back to charcoal, making the local price of charcoal higher, more expensive than the export price of this commodity that was almost not interesting, not attractive, non-existent in Nigeria. Today, this last week, that has been the major topic, the price of cement. Well, cement being the major component in construction. But as cement prices skyrocketed, so also did prices of all other items in housing and construction. Daily essentials are not spared. And I borrow a word here from Dr. Tope Fashuba, who described what is happening, especially in the consumer products industry, as shrinkflation. I fell in love with that. Shrinkflation, he described as the practice that we all see now, where the price of a 450-gram tin of Bonvita or Milo has gone up to 2,500 naira from probably 800 naira. It's about 2,500, 2,600 naira now. But when you open the tin, even though the container says 450 grams, what you actually meet inside will be somewhere around 300 grams. So it's shrinking and it's becoming alarming. So the overall effect of all of this is that it is becoming more and more difficult for Nigerian businesses to survive and for the owners of these businesses to even be able to eat. I don't know if one meal is square, because they would usually say 3 square meals. I used to think it was triangular meals, but now whether it is triangular or rectangular, it's very difficult now to put food on the table. So we try not to be doomsday prophets. We just presented in that first part the actual current realities in Nigeria and how difficult it is for businesses to navigate. But remember, like I said earlier on, when the going gets tough, the tough gets going. Here, everybody thinks, especially those who talk in favor of non-oil exports as the gold mine. Everybody thinks that the devalued Naira means that the exporter earns much, much more in Naira than they used to earn. And I said, nothing can be farther from the truth. That's the reason why we thought that it's very, very important to explain this in the course of this webinar. And to do that, to illustrate that, um, there's a case study at the end of this presentation where we try to capture the terminal market, the destination market price of some of Nigerian products. It hasn't really changed. 1 kilo of Gari in Toronto in 2019 still remains the price that it is even in 2024. But when you exported Gari, I think I should just first go to that slide and you'll see what I'm talking about. Yeah. So in 2019, 1 kilo of Gari was 75 cents in downtown Toronto. 2020, 75 cents per kg. 2021, 80 cents per kg. 2024, it is still 80 to 83 cents per kg. That's what the exporter will sell when he has made all the wahala to get it down to the Canadian market. So this man buys his Gari either in Ijebu or in Oyo. In 2019, that Gari that he sold for 75 cents per kg was actually about, I think it was 173 Naira per kg in 2019. 173, 183, thereabouts. As of December 2023, it was 660 Naira per kg, or 33,000 Naira per bag. January 2024, it went to 760 Naira per kg, 38,000 a bag. February 2024, it is 1,100 Naira per kg, or 55,000 Naira per bag. So if you look at the cost of that the exporter procures the product at in Nigeria, and remember all these are ex-production site, ex-location. The price of truck from one place to the other in Nigeria has also gone as high as all of this. Even the loaders and offloaders have hiked their prices 4-5 times. So to stock a container is much more expensive. If you now look at this scenario, would we agree that a Nigerian exporter is actually breaking even when he gets to the international market, where it is described as a fierce and a competitive economic battleground? I would say the answer is no. So let's go back with what we already said earlier on: the weak Naira, high inflation, low purchasing power, low wages, unemployment is increasing. So in the face of all this, what do we think needs to be done? And we've tried here to strike a balance between what the businesses themselves need to do and what government needs to do to support businesses. So for businesses, we think that it is the time to now explore the option of export clustering or cooperative exports. India adopted this almost 20-something years ago. South Africa, I think it was 2005 that I was in Cape Town for when they were launching the export clusters concept in Cape Town. And that for them has remained a very, very viral, very, very active strategy. So we think that it is time for exporters to synergize, to scale synergy above energy and cooperation above competition. If you do not have the resources to fill a container, look for 5, 6, 7 other exporters and do a sharing, what they call groupage. The cost to ship one container remains the same. So you might spread this among yourselves. And by building such synergy, you actually are also building the confidence of your final importer. Of course, prudent management, you don't need any prophet to preach this to you at this time, because it is now time to focus on cost optimization measures to mitigate the impact of inflation and to reduce the cost of staying in business. Resource allocation needs to be more efficient. If you need at this time to rearrange your shifts such that 8 people can now cover the job that 20 people were doing. In other climes, I will again go back to Canada as example. I thought they were crazy. I thought it would not be possible. But when COVID-19 affected the global supply chain system, a lot of Canadian businesses decided to introduce the work from home strategy. Yes, the cost of procuring the equipments were high initially, but these were costs that were one-off. And today, I think that a higher percentage of businesses are operating the work from home, thereby reducing the cost of rent, cost of electricity, and every other thing that add up to be the overhead. So prudent management becomes very, very important at this point. So you need also to adapt to your customers' changing preferences. Let me go back a little bit to something that happened that is actually very current. The Gambia International Trade Fair is on. 2 years ago, we helped to develop a concept that Nigeria Export Promotion Council and SMIDAN bought into, and we were able to take about 30 Nigerian businesses to the Gambia with support from both agencies, SMIDAN and NEPC. At that time, a return ticket to Banjul was 560,000 naira. 1 kilo of cargo of luggage was 1,500 naira. 2024, 1.5 years later, because it was October 2022, 2024, the return ticket had gone to 1,455,000 economy class. Cost of cargo packaging had gone up to 8,000 naira, 8,000 from 1,500. So it was practically impossible for a startup or a nano, micro, even small enterprise to take anything to Gambia, which opened as a very, very fertile market for Nigerian products. And where if they got there, it was just not possible to break even, not to talk of thinking of profit. So as of this moment, the trade fair is on. There is no Nigerian pavilion. But 2 Nigerian women braved the odds, spoke to some other colleagues, especially those who had gone there before and known just how vital that market was. So they pulled their resources together and bought 2 exhibition booths. Those 2 exhibition booths now, with staffing from these 2 women, they are the ones that are selling on behalf of about 15 other exporters. That's the advantage of cooperation. So we need to adapt to consumers' preferences to minimize loss, especially rejection not on quality, but on the fact that you are giving them the wrong uh, product. Cultivate customer confidence. That is extremely important. And there is no university where you go to learn this. It's just the soft things. If you are to deliver goods to somebody and for one reason or the other, maybe power challenge and what have you, you cannot, please pick up your phone and call the person. This applies to both domestic and international trade. Explain what the situation is. In doing so, you are shoring up that person's confidence in your efficiency. I used this way back in 1996 to 1999 as export manager in Stanmark, a Cadbury-owned company in Nigeria. And I can tell you that for those 3.5 years, Stanmark cocoa always attracted at least $250 per ton higher price than any other cocoa processing company in Nigeria at that time. The simple reason was not that we delivered 100% of the time, but that we let our customers know if for any reason there was any of those parameters that were agreed in the export contract that we were not going to be able to meet those quality standards, we will explain to them, please, for so reason, FFA will not be 3%. It will probably be 3.5%. And everybody understood this, and we became the better for it. Whether you are a local player or an exporter, this will work for you. So, what should government do in this instance? Everybody who is conversant with the Nigerian news space would have followed just how much manufacturers and producers are groaning so much because of the effect of this inconsistent and volatile exchange rate. So it is important because Nigeria is a government-led economy. It is important that government becomes deliberate in supporting exports. I think that it is time for our economic thinkers to go a step higher than recommending handouts and welfares and all those welfarist interventions and actually focus on support for production. I gave an example here, the Export Expansion Grant, which government, this administration is yet to even pay a dime out of, and there's a backlog there. And I can't remember where I was. I think it was at the DBAT summit where I was giving the example of the illustration. Government owes Nigerian exporters about 260 or maybe 300 billion. Worst case scenario, 300 billion naira in a backlog of export expansion grant dating back to 2016. Now, these are monies, funds that go directly into reducing the cost of production, reducing the unit cost of exporting from Nigeria, addressing issues such as the high cost of registration with NAFDAC and other agencies, of sinking their own boreholes because water supply is inconsistent, of generating their own power because the national grid will fail them. That's what export expansion grant is applied to and will have an immediate impact. But if we were to aggregate the amount that this government has voted uh, and dispersed. I was looking for a better word there than to say that they were dispersing it, but it looks to me like dispersal. On 200 billion today to least impoverished families, 500 billion there. All these government itself finds it difficult to even identify the persons or the families that qualify for this, and that's the reason for the hue and cry in the Ministry of is it Humanitarian Affairs, where the monies find their way either into human pockets or bellies of snakes and other reptiles. We think that not only the export expansion grant, but at least 5 or 6 of the other incentives that exist by law under the Export Incentives and Miscellaneous Act need to now be revamped and properly funded so that export will help Nigeria out of the scarce foreign exchange that makes the Naira to be volatile. The trade infrastructure in Nigeria today is grossly inadequate. That's stating the obvious. It is time for government to focus on activation of common facilities centers for domestic businesses. That will help the concept that we were proposing to producers themselves to look at cooperation rather than doing things all alone. So, and we think that it is time to borrow from the Asian tigers. The Asian Tigers 1993 World Bank report has it that they went deliberate and intentional. The governments did everything. So government must now look at production, manufacturing, trade, whether domestic or international, as the solution to the volatility of the Naira, and therefore go very, very deliberate and intentional to ensure that businesses are supported to not only stay afloat, break even, but also to make profit in what is a continuously challenging environment. Okay, this is part of what would have made somebody to start wondering what is happening, and that is one of the areas that is most volatile. Yesterday, just yesterday alone, the CBN reviewed the exchange rate for import duties in Nigeria 3 times. This results in unpredictability. And there's just no way that any business can plan. And once you cannot plan, you want to go to a more stable environment. That accounts for why most of those companies that have relocated have done so, and why many more are shutting their doors. And I want to end this presentation by saying that inevitably challenging times have arrived affecting Nigeria and its businesses, whether they operate domestically or focus on exports. It is crucial for businesses to adopt innovative approaches, while the government needs to be more intentional and deliberate in providing support to ensure their sustainability. I thank you all very much. It took quite more than the 25 minutes we wanted, but it was important, I think, to let all of us be on the same page. Thank you once again.